So give us your analysis of why we see the American economy so strong. A lot of people are surprised at how strong it is at this point.
I think I want to say that the majority of economists are probably surprised. And I think the Fed, we heard today from Jerome Powell, I think he's surprised. The resilience of the economy, given that we've had high interest rates, we've had them the highest in 3 decades, we've had them for a long time, that should have slowed the economy down. It did not. So what is the driver here? I think the investment strategy that has been unleashed by the private sector in response to Biden's industrial policy in semiconductors, his industrial policy in overall manufacturing, his climate policies, those tax cuts, those tax incentives for climate investment have unleashed a lot of investment. And so if you think about this, this is spending that's investing in the productivity of the future. I want to add to this AI. A lot of investment in AI because of the anticipated effects on productivity.
So let's continue on that if we could, because in the past you and I have talked about when you were in the White House and you saw the internet kick in that really affected productivity. Now that we know a bit more about AI, do you think we're maybe on the threshold of something like that?
You know, I think we could be. I have done some work on this. Look, we don't have a lot of evidence right now, but all the evidence we have, whether we do it through how does a programmer benefit from working with AI? How does a call center operator benefit from working from AI? All of the numbers say significant productivity growth. So I think it's largely anecdotal, largely case studies. We don't have enough yet, but boy, the promising signals that AI will lead to a significant boost in productivity growth, it was the major surprise in the 1960s, and it may indeed be the major surprise in the next 5 to 10 years.
So you're an economist. At the same time, when you were in the White House, you had to pay attention to the politics as well. Given the fact that you see the economy as strong as it is, why are so many people so dissatisfied, even some of them angry with where we are economically?
You know, there's no simple answer to this. If you look at all of the numbers, the only number that does not generate the same kind of benefit for the population are the inflation numbers. So if you look at GDP growth, or you look at employment growth, you look at the unemployment rate, you look at vacancy rates, you look at the rate of growth of real wages now since January 23, those are positive numbers. The thing that really gets people, I understand this, is the prices of things that they need are higher. They are higher. They're not, inflation is not, we're not going to disinflate. Prices are not going to go down for most things, so prices are higher. And I think there you have a lot of service prices, people going out to restaurants now and realizing that the price includes the price is higher service charge. It costs more to do it. I would say housing. Housing is a huge national problem. And I think we've only recently seen the last quarter 2 of this year, we began to see some easing in the inflation rate of housing.
Part of the issue is the economy. Part of it is how you communicate about the economy. You worked under somebody that I think was a very strong communicator. You can agree with President Clinton or disagree, but boy, he was a good communicator, and he would explain what's going on in the economy. How do we avoid the populist streak that we're seeing right now? Because I think a lot of Americans, whether rightly or wrongly, are saying that inflation is linked to some of the investment that you think is a good thing.
Well, I think we have to, again, if you listen to, and I'm not sure that this is a populist message, but if you listen to Jerome Powell today, he would say, okay, look, we had a very set of tight supply chains as a result of COVID. That's a tightness in the product market lasted a long time, longer than we expected, okay? But then you have that unleashed, you have the prices in goods starting to slow or even come down somewhat. And then what are people spending their money on? Their pent-up demand is on services, it's on vacations, it's on going to restaurants, it's on having a normal life outside of COVID. And those prices go up. I am very concerned, by the way, and you haven't raised it yet, but I'm going to go to immigration here. If you think that there are numbers on this. The employment rate of native-born working-age Americans has been stable, okay? It's not gone down from 2019. It's not gone up from 2019. What's going on here? The number of working-age Native Americans is going down. It's going down. So all of the employment growth that we have seen over the past 3 years has been non-native born working age population, immigrants. And they are the ones that are filling the service jobs and the manufacturing jobs and the care economy jobs and the restaurant jobs. And if we actually dramatically deport millions of immigrants who have some status that the President Trump would want to undo, then we are going to create a labor market shortage really, really fast. That is going to be a major slowdown variable for the U.S. economy.
Let's talk also about tariffs, since we're talking about the possibility of a Trump presidency coming up now. Tariffs, because there is a sense that the so-called China shock was not good for portions of the American working public. It wasn't across the board, but there were portions that were really hit hard by that. May have been a mistake, and people are worried about a second China shock now. What about the popular appeal of saying, let's impose some tariffs here?
Well, I think I would start with the view that tariffs are an inflationary tax. Who pays the tariffs? It's not, and I heard Trump in the debate say he doesn't believe this, but it's just true. China doesn't pay the tariffs. The foreign country doesn't pay the tariffs. The American consumer who wants to buy foreign products pays the tariff. And there are some very good studies now which indicate that at the tariff rates that Trump is proposing, it would cost the average family, a typical family in the middle of the income distribution, it would cost them about $1,700 extra a year to buy the goods and services they want. So tariffs are inflation, a price increasing, and they are therefore, I think, consider it a kind of inflationary tax. The other thing that tariffs do, well, yes, they might slow down imports. Okay, that's true. But let's think about other jobs in the U.S. economy. Let's think about the jobs that are dependent upon exports from the U.S. economy. Exports from the U.S. economy embody a lot of imports for inputs. So those exports will become more expensive, therefore will export less. A tariff in the United States will cause the dollar to strengthen. That means we will export less. So actually, it's not at all a pro-growth or pro-job strategy. I think that we need to combine our trade laws with trade adjustment assistance laws. There will always be structural change from trade. I personally am not concerned about a second China shock, but I am concerned about the price effects of the tariffs that the would-be President Trump is proposing. They are very high, and they will definitely cause a real loss in income because of this tax that's going to be imposed on consumers. You know, you go to the store, it is the case that many basic things that are not produced in the United States at this point are coming from China. And what, we're going to say you have to pay 50% more for that? You have to pay 50% more for that? Why? What exactly are we doing here? So I am concerned about all of this.